Holley Terminator X. This is assuming you have a very limited knowledge or you just paid to have your vehicle tuned by a professional and now you are messing with it after the fact because you changed something light or you want to learn how to get down the track, tune the boost, nitro solenoids, etc. So the first thing you're going to see when you open up your Holley Terminator is this right here. You will need to add your individual configs. What that means is you have to go to Toolbox. You have to go to Add Individual Config, and you need to add what you're using. So whether that be boost, okay, we need to add our boost. Now we have this little turbo guy here. Open this up, you have your boost set up. If you had this tuned, this is all set up already. Then your boost versus time here would be where you change your dome pressure to adjust your boost level. Another config would be your advanced tables. Then you got this little blue guy here, this blue graph. Now you have your advanced tables. These can do a myriad of different things. I will have a video out going over my advanced tables if you purchase them. I have a $150 base tune, Bosch 210s E85 with all my advanced tables included. You can buy that at the link below, but for now, that's your advanced tables. What else? We have your nitrous. If you're a nitrous guy, you need to add the individual config. Now all your settings will be here. And we have traction control. If you're Holley Terminator, chances are you're not going to use that. That's a little bit more of an advanced thing. Transmission. We have race transmission. This is assuming you have some sort of air shifter or an electronic motion shifter with a pulse, solenoid on it to shift the car for you. Then it's here. And you can pick your gears and you can pick what parameters to engage that solenoid or activate that valve. Fueling, here. Target air fuel ratio, this should all already be set. Learn table. If your learn table is like 30%, go find a new tuner, because that's wrong. My goal's single digits, typically 3 to 4%. Obviously weather changes and stuff, so it can adjust a little bit. That's the great thing about Holley is it is closed loop, but if I'm tuning a car, I want it within 3%. Startup enrichment. You can add cranking fuel here. You can do after start enrichment to help hold fueling when it's cold. You usually need to increase these pretty well on E85 to get the car to idle and cold start. Sensors, map sensor. Coolant temp sensor is probably just standard GM. Manifold absolute temperature. Probably the same thing. Oil pressure, same. Custom pressure, you'll want to set your fuel pressure sensor. System, all your injector data needs to be correct and is more than likely already in here. Closed loop, there's no reason to have 50% closed loop learn values. If this is still set for 50 and your wideband goes out, guess what? You're screwed. Car's not going to run very good or drive very good. You want to limit this. Once the tune is close, within 5%, then 20 is extreme, right? That means something's wrong and you need to fix it. Basic I/O, here's where you would change your fuel pump, your torque converter, lockup, staging for your transmission, your bump. I like using duty cycle frequency, that way you can hold the button and creep. This takes a little bit of time to dial in though. Every solenoid transmission converter combo is different. What else we got? Idle speed. This is how aggressive the P and the D term. That it's a PID. You can look up what PID is. That's exactly what the P and the D mean. I don't have enough time, or can I explain it to you? No. I just kind of understand what they do, and we change them here. IAC ramp down. That's when you come off throttle. The IAC will hold, and then it'll start the ramp down back to base idle. Parked. These are your IAC park position. They should be less than this. This is just a base tune to get people started. If your IAC needs to sit around 50% or more to get the car to idle, you need to manually crack your throttle blade open. This is assuming it's a drive-by cable throttle body. You want this probably as minimum as possible. I'd say under 30, 20, 30 would be fine. Here's all your timing stuff. I'm going on 6 minutes, so I'm going to try and hurry. This is your base timing table. If your car was tuned or it has a solid base tune, you shouldn't need to mess with any of this. Cranking parameters should be set. Rev limiters. If you're at the track and you want to change, obviously, your launch RPM, that is rev limiter 1 is going to be on your trans brake button. It'll be pinned to that. This is the value you want to change. Your high spark, which is your high RPM rev limiter that you don't want to hit when you're shifting your trans or you're shifting your car, that's your high value. That's this one here. Launch retard, obviously this is some sort of base graph, but if you want to pull 10 degrees of timing, you set this to 10, and then you can come here and you set this to 0, and now for the first 2 seconds, as this is shown, you're pulling 10 degrees of timing. You'd probably want to rescale this whole graph out so that the entire graph is 3 seconds or 2 seconds, whatever. I pull a little bit of timing. You can pull timing as your manifold absolute temperature goes up, make less power, less heat. Boost control, nitrous. The biggest thing is I don't think people understand after they have their car tuned and they want to mess with it on the laptop is you have to add those ICFs or you won't be able to access it. So the simplest way to do that is, well, I think it's the only way to do that is toolbox, add individual config, boost, default, etc. Whatever you need, whether that be transmission, nitrous control, advanced tables, and the boost.